Hey guys, this is Jay Calder from JAYONBOXING, and we're going to be talking about why Tank Davis versus Naoya Inoue is a dumb fight. But before we get started, please of course like, subscribe, share, comment, all that stuff. It definitely helps out the channel, and I do definitely appreciate the support. So recently, in fact over the weekend, as many predicted, Gervonta Davis was successful in his lightweight title defense over the previously unbeaten Frank Martin. As has happened in the past to some extent, his opponent looked relatively competitive until the power of Davis ultimately prevailed in the end. Yes, Martin started off strong, but Davis doesn't need much more than a few shots to get the job done, and that's exactly what he did in this fight. After softening Martin up in the preceding rounds, Davis landed a massive two-punch combination in the 8th and ended matters swiftly. Cue the top rope backflip. So, after seeing that, here's a question. Why does anyone want to see Gervonta Davis versus Naoya Inoue? Now, over the last few months, maybe since Inoue moved up to 122 pounds, fans have murmured about a possible super showdown between the hard-hitting unbeatens. Even Davis himself said he would like the fight and that he thought it would be massive, a good fight, a big fight, before saying that Inoue might be too small for the fight to be realistically staged. Yet, even with Davis himself doubting the likelihood of a fight with Inoue happening, this alleged dream match continues to be brought up by enough fans that it's annoying, worrisome, whatever you want to call it. What is compelling about this fight, save for the freak show nature of it? In terms of a competitive fight, it just isn't there. You know, weight classes matter for a reason, and they aren't even in the ballpark of one another in terms of size to begin with. So what's compelling? Sure, in terms of height and reach, they are relatively the same, but dimensions and weight are not the same thing. Paul Williams, for example, had a heavyweight reach. He never fought higher than middleweight. Clearly, there is a difference. But just do the eye test. Looking at the pair of them, Inoue looks like a guy that is probably perfectly suited for junior featherweight for the time being. And Davis looks like a bulky, fully fleshed out lightweight that has fought at junior welterweight successfully, I might add. Now, I admit, I want high-level, pound-for-pound type fights whenever possible, and boxing is a sport that is only as healthy as its biggest fights. I get that, so I understand the desire to link these two. But that being said, it shouldn't be done at the expense of making fair, reasonable fights that give both combatants a legitimate chance. Inoue moved up to 122 pounds in July of 2023. It's June of 2024. That's barely a year ago. To make the Tank fight, we would be asking someone that is relatively new to junior featherweight to jump up at least 10 to 13 pounds in the span of a fight or two and fight someone with a 93% KO ratio that has fought at 140 pounds successfully before. And not just that, Inoue, in gaining weight so fast and jumping that high so quickly, would be sacrificing some of his best assets in terms of power and speed to do so. In what world is this a good idea? Or a good fight? Hell, in what world is this even a good win for Tank if it happened? This is also particularly stupid when both have far more reasonable fights that they can make that are pretty good and are kind of around their weights as opposed to this circus-style mismatch. With Davis, you have unification with the likes of Vasily Lomachenko or Shakur Stevenson. Even a move up to 140 gives you fights with the likes of Devin Haney or Teofimo Lopez. Even the Ryan Garcia fight is at least viable and more fair, at least in terms of size. All fights that people would want to see. With Inoue, you have the Murajan Akhmadaliev fight there. You even have Sam Goodman as a decent fight. Junko Nakatani could move up to 122 pounds. Even a move to 126 leaves you with fights with the likes of Nick Ball, a very action-based fight, Brandon Figueroa, which would have some size elements to it but still be more fair, Luis Alberto Lopez with his awkward style and hard-hitting nature, all compelling fights, especially if one of them happens to become the standout dude at featherweight before Inoue moves up. Are they dream fight types? As of now, maybe not. But that's no reason to just throw two fighters at the wall and hope it sticks. The truth of the matter is there are three groups of fans that want to see this fight. The first would be the casual fans. They see two undefeated guys that can punch and are relatively close in size, and boom, make the fight. I'm not going to spend too much time on them. Bless their hearts. They know not what they do. The second group are weirdo fanboys of Tank that want him to be the one to beat the monster. They don't care that it would be a ridiculous fight, they just want the scalp, whether it would be really valid in many ways or not. They just want it. Again, fanboy nonsense. I'm not that bothered with them either. They're fanboys. I don't expect them to have any kind of better take on boxing, in my personal opinion. The group that perhaps most annoys me are the ones shouting about Inoue needing to fight in America or it doesn't count. The ones saying that the lower weights don't matter, and until Inoue is at lightweight or higher, who cares? This group just wants to see Inoue lose, so that people stop talking about a fighter that they can't be bothered to care about, even though many other boxing fans are. And so they want him to make this ridiculous jump because they think it's a fight that forces him to fight in the US and likely lose to a bigger guy, and thus prove the bias they already have. They don't want to admit Inoue is special, and will always come up with excuses for anything he does, or don't care about seeing him in good fights. They just want to see him lose. These are the same sort that claimed he was cheating based on hand wraps in the Stephen Fulton fight, even though Fulton had the same option for the same wraps. And Inoue wasn't hiding it. And he's fought in other areas with different rules for wraps and complied, never broke those rules, and still knocked people out all the same. Again, it's nonsense. They just have a bias against him for whatever reason. I don't even really care why, but it's there. And it's not about seeing the best fight for these fans. It's about proving Inoue isn't the best fighter, which many believe he is, of course. But as much as they hate to admit he's an absolute beast, ironically, their ridiculous idea for a fight does just that. Because imagine thinking a fighter is so good that the only way to see him lose is force him to prematurely jump 2 weight classes and face a highly skilled knockout artist. Think about the inadvertent compliment you're giving that fighter. And this isn't me trying to protect Inoue, by the way. Oh, poor innocent Inoue. No. If he faces Nakatani or Ball or whoever, and he's stopped in a round, or in a war, or it goes the distance and he loses, so be it. It's good for the sport. I like good fights. I don't care. I'm not someone that thinks all is lost because some fighter drops a single fight, or even a couple. Just make the best fight and all is forgiven. Davis versus Inoue isn't the best fight. It's dumb. And that's my problem with it. And chances are, if you want this fight to be made, it's more about making Davis look good or Inoue look bad, not because you think it's actually worth making. But in any event, let me know what you guys think. Leave your thoughts down in the comments. Is this actually a fight you really want to see? Again, not for the freak show nature of it, but do you actually think it's compelling? If so, why? Agree, disagree, leave it down in the comments below. And of course, you can like, subscribe, share, all that good stuff, and check out all the social media here. And be sure to check out JAYONBOXING.com for predictions, schedule, results, rankings, and all that good stuff. And as always, until next time.